Do you want to know how to connect with your truest, highest, and most authentic self? Hey guys, I'm Kim, and welcome back to the Higher Vibe Chat community, where we talk about everything law of attraction, mindset, and becoming your highest self. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can get in tune and connect to your higher self, your best self, your truest self, that person you were before you were molded by expectations of others and expectations of society. This is just so important because when we connect with our truest selves, everything just flows. There's less anxiety, there's less fear, there's less worry in our lives. We begin to trust and know that everything is working out for our highest good. You feel more self-assured because you're confident in yourself and you're confident in where you're going and the decisions that you're making. You don't judge yourself for who you are, what you're doing, where you're going, how you're feeling. You just are, and you accept everything about yourself. You simply allow yourself to be who you are meant to be. But easier said than done. So how do we actually go about doing this? So the first thing that you can do to connect to your higher self is to meditate. You know, I had to say it. Meditation is so beneficial. I talk about it in literally every single video, but I do that for a reason. The best way to connect with your higher self is to sit in silence and hear what your higher self is actually trying to say to you. We all have that voice inside of us. That's our higher self trying to communicate with us, but sometimes we try to quiet it down and even tell it to shut up. We stray so far away from it sometimes that we can't even hear it anymore. That voice always has an answer. It always knows what direction to go. It always knows what to say. It always knows what we need to hear. Sometimes we just need to give it a chance to tell us what that answer is or what direction we actually need to go. And sitting in silence and meditating is one of the best ways to do this, because sometimes we just have so many thoughts going on in our head all the time. All this mindless mental chatter. When we meditate, we quiet those outside noises and we hear what voices actually matter, which is our own. We get that mental clarity that we crave. We can make decisions better. We have less anxiety. We sleep better. The list goes on and on and on. And by the way, if you want to get started with meditation, there are a ton of great free apps out there. I personally used Headspace. There's also Insight Timer, and you can even search up guided meditations here on YouTube. There's so many resources. And I know that it might be hard at first, but I promise, just stick with it. If you guys know anything about me, you will know that I'm not someone who ever thought that they would be a person who meditates, but I made a promise to myself, and last year I tried it for 10 days straight and it completely changed my life. So I encourage you guys to try it out for yourself as well. Just stick with it and trust me that you will be a lot closer to your higher self after doing meditation. So the second way that you can connect to your higher self is to get to know who you actually are. Because how can we connect with our higher selves if we don't even know who that person is? Oftentimes we say no to what we actually want because we tell ourselves it isn't practical, or we're scared of what other people might think, or it might not be that cool or trendy at the time. But who are you away from all of that? What would you actually be doing if you didn't have anyone else to answer to but yourself? And I feel like the best way to get the answers to these questions is just to spend a lot of time with yourself. I find that oftentimes in modern society, we don't make enough time to do things just by ourselves. We always have to have someone around. I mean, some people can't even go to the grocery store by themselves, and I'm not calling you out if this is you, but just know that you should be spending time with yourselves. You should be able to go out, have a meal by yourself, go to the movies by yourself, go to the mall by yourself, whatever it is. I'm not understating the importance of social connection, but right now we are talking about connecting with our higher self. Because when we spend time by ourselves, this will allow us to see what we truly like. You won't be worried about what other people think when you make those decisions, because it will just be yourself with you, not anyone else. It might be a little bit uncomfortable at first if you're not used to it. Wow, I feel like everything I'm saying in this video is going to make you uncomfortable, and it might, because if you're not used to connecting with your higher self, it might feel that way at first. But over time, you'll learn to really enjoy spending that time with yourself. And this will guide you on a path to knowing your higher self and connecting with them. So the third thing you can do to connect with your higher self is to reconnect with your passions and your hobbies. What do you love doing? Make time for those things. I know I just talked about figuring out who you actually are and trying out new things, but I know right now you have some things that you love doing, so make time for them. You know, your hobbies and passions, those things that you told yourself that you were too busy to do. I feel like sometimes it's so sad, but we have so many other obligations and responsibilities that oftentimes it's the things that we love most, the things that we think are non-essential, that get thrown to the wayside. So bring those things back into your life. See who you are when you connect to doing those things. Whatever it is, painting, cooking, drawing, singing, you don't even have to be good at it. It's not even about being good. It's just about enjoying the activity. And this really just helps us get into flow. You know, when you're doing that thing you love so much, you have no idea how much time has passed. That's the feeling that we're trying to get to. For me personally, it's kickboxing. I could just kickbox all day and I'll have no idea how much time has passed. Well, but actually, you know, my limited cardio ability might prevent me from doing it all day, but you get what I'm trying to say here. Doing the things we love raises our vibe and helps us get closer to that truest, highest version of ourselves. So the fourth thing you can do to become the truest version of yourself is to lessen your exposure to negative things. Now, there is a major difference between not feeling negative emotions and not partaking in negative things. I am in no way feeling don't feel down sometimes, don't feel sad sometimes. That's completely normal. And you know how I feel about toxic positivity. There's no place for that here. It is completely normal and actually good to feel all our emotions, whether that's happiness or sadness. You do not have to be positive all the time. But what I am saying is choose not to partake in activities that don't serve you. I mean, if you're hanging around people that don't make you feel good, then just stop it. If you're constantly watching the news and finding yourself worried and scared, then don't do that. Whenever we do things that make us feel down, we're not connecting with our higher self because it lowers our vibes and makes us not feel that great about ourselves. Whenever we do things that don't make us feel good, it means we're not connecting with our higher self because it's lowering our overall vibration. Of course, we do need to learn how to deal with negativity and negative things, but where we can, let's try to avoid negative activities. And guys, if you're enjoying this right now, I would really appreciate it if you could take a second to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. It would really help me grow and get this message to as many people as possible. So the fifth thing you can do to connect to your higher self is to do the shadow work. Yes, this one can be pretty tough. If you haven't heard of shadow work before, it's basically facing the dark side of yourself. So this could mean working through past traumas or major issues that you never really took the time to process and deal with. It could be losing a loved one, losing a job, a friendship, a relationship, whatever it is. Anything along those lines, just something that was very, very difficult. I feel like oftentimes we try not to deal with these emotions. We put a band-aid on it and shove it to the deepest, darkest corner of our mind and hope we don't ever have to think about it again. But that isn't really working through it because, I mean, we have these difficult experiences so we can grow as people. If you look back on any hard time in your life, you'll realize that you survived and actually you came out stronger than you were before you went through that. So allow yourself the opportunity to grow and work through these things. Pushing these things back and not dealing with them just doesn't allow us to see who we would truly be without this weight on our shoulders of this thing weighing us down. And depending on what the nature of this is, this could be very difficult, so please seek professional help if you need help on how to navigate these situations. But once you actually do this work, know that it's just like a boulder lifted off and you can just feel so much lighter and freer knowing that you actually dealt with the issue. So the sixth thing you can do to connect with your truest self is to listen to your intuition. We have feelings and emotions for a reason. They're our inner guidance system and we need to learn how to trust these feelings and trust ourselves. Like sometimes we know we shouldn't be doing something but we just do it anyway. So you might be asking, how can we actually listen to our emotions? You can start by simply noticing them. Sometimes we don't even pay attention to how we're feeling when we're doing something. So whenever you're doing something and it doesn't make you feel good, question whether you should be doing it at all. Now, I'm not talking about fear for a presentation or a job interview. You know, that's fear, but also mixed with excitement and hope. I'm talking about things that just make you feel downright bad while you're doing them. Listen to your emotions and what your higher self is telling you. Your higher self is communicating with you through those emotions and how you're feeling. So listen to what it's trying to say. So the seventh way you can connect to your highest self is to treat your body right. How can you connect with your highest, truest self if you aren't treating your body properly? Part of connecting with your higher self is respecting yourself. Respecting yourself enough to eat healthy, to work out, and not to constantly be doing things that you know aren't good for you. Of course, everything in moderation, but in general, you should be eating healthy and getting your body moving. And you know that when you do this, you just feel good about yourself, you feel happy, you feel more alert, and you feel more confident about yourself because you're putting in that work to take care of yourself. And then we feel more confident and more proud of ourselves, and this helps us feel more self-assured in the decisions that we're making. All of these things help bring us closer to our highest self. So the eighth thing that you can do to connect with your highest self is to understand that your past does not dictate your future. It doesn't matter who you were in the past. It doesn't mean that you have to continue being that person if you don't want to be. Forgive yourself for mistakes that you might have made or things that you might have done that you weren't proud of. We all have those things. Understand and know that you can be whoever you want to be. Often I find that a huge barrier to connecting with our true selves is simply telling ourselves that we can't be that version of ourselves that we want to be for whatever reason that is. And that's simply not true. You are always able at any moment you decide to be a brand new person. Once we understand this, just a bunch of new possibilities open up for us. And we're able to be our true selves because we know we actually have that ability to be someone else. So don't hold yourself back by falsely telling yourself that this is the only version of yourself that you can possibly be. And the ninth thing that you can do to connect with your truest self is to practice gratitude. Being thankful for what we have in the now helps us cultivate better for the future. future. The law of attraction, like attracts like, so when we're happy with what we have now and when we're happy with who we are now, that just attracts more things into our life to be happy and thankful for. And being thankful just raises your vibe and makes you even happier. It's kind of like a snowball effect, and this just makes you even more excited for all of those possibilities that could become reality. So the main takeaway I want you guys to have from this is to understand that you can be whoever you want to be. Learn to connect with your highest self by spending time with yourself, figuring out what you like, working through those difficult times, and being thankful for what we have in the here and now. If you guys found this video at all helpful, please like and subscribe, and as always, until next time, sending good vibes your way.